Emmy Award-winning actress Christina Applegate is candid about her successful battle against cancer. Well, now the mother-to-be wants to help others. She started a foundation to help women pay for high-tech tests not covered under their insurance. Applegate sat down with our Dr. Sanjay Gupta, a chief medical correspondent, and explained how one of them saved her life.
It wasn't until I was 35 and almost 36 that the doctor I'd been getting my mammograms from just said, you know, it's time that we start doing MRIs because of the density and, you know, their inability to really see what was going on. And, you know, luckily for me, you know, he did do that because they found on the MRI the calcifications, which then, you know, through the biopsy found that it was cancer.
One of the things I hear all the time as a doctor is that you doctors order too many tests. You're ordering tests for everything. And this has been, I think, part of the reason there's been either hesitation or a slow to sort of act as far as ordering more MRIs for breast cancer. What do you say to people who say, look, we're a culture of over-testing as it is?
I can't stress enough, it saved my life. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I had just had a mammogram. There was nothing on it. You know, this was something that found it at a stage that was curable, instead of at a stage where it's not. I also unfortunately know that, you know, the MRI screenings are incredibly expensive and a lot of insurance companies don't cover that, which is why I started my foundation, because it just really, it upset me so much that, you know, these women were opting to not have this really valuable screening because of money and because we're not taking care of these women who are high risk. So that's one of the things that really got me when I was going through all of this.
Should insurance companies be hearing what you have to say? I mean,
Absolutely.
Ultimately,
this should be a part of it. You know, I mean, MRIs should be in tandem with mammography. That's just what I truly believe. But until then, with Right Action for Women, we're going to provide financial aid to these women.
That's probably the most frightening position to be involved, because now your doctor's told you need it because they're worried, presumably, and you simply can't afford it. It's going to be a very frightening position.
Yeah, that's why this was told to me when I was just going through the early stages of all of this, and it upset me so much that I had to do something about it.
This is a big issue. I mean, there's a lot of women out there who may fall into this category, need an MRI based on this criteria. Your foundation can only do so much. Who else should be hearing this? I mean, what needs to change? Knowing
your family history can save your life, and that's something you can start testing when you're in your 20s. And you can catch it when it's, you know, a lot of people don't know what DCIS is. It's ductal carcinoma in situ, where it hasn't reached into the breast tissue yet. That's such a treatable stage, and you can find it through these other kinds of screening.
And you didn't want to have a mastectomy at all, but after all the data came back and you looked at it all, you talked to your doctor, you decided a double mastectomy was the best thing to do.
For me. I know I've gotten some criticism, I'm sure, from people who have said, you know, what I've done was way too radical. But I just looked at my family and I just thought, this is the smartest thing for me to do. This is my best chance of not having to deal with this with breast cancer ever again for as long as I live.
Any regrets about the operation? Do you ever look back and say, well, maybe it was, you know, I acted hastily or too quickly or anything?
When my head goes into vanity, sometimes I go, darn it, you know, I miss those gals. But then, you know, it's closely followed by, this is about your life, and, you know, what's the sacrifice of that for being able to watch this one grow up and have children of their own, and, you know, I mean, that's what's really important to me.
So Applegate had a genetic test which showed positive for the BRCA1 gene mutation. She encourages women to get genetic tests, and her foundation helps women at high risk of breast cancer pay for MRIs. You can find out more about it online, rightactionforwomen.org.